Hey friends, what's up? We made it through another week. High five. Hey, since I've been talking about prayer all week, I want to end on this big one, all right? It's going to be the hardest prayer that you may ever pray in your life if you're willing to try it. But it's such an important one that Jesus actually prayed the same one 3 times in the same night. All right, you ready for it as we wrap up prayer week here? All right, well, this prayer comes out of, it's kind of the weekend we already celebrated last month. Easter weekend comes from Thursday night, the Holy Thursday, the night before Good Friday when Jesus was crucified. And after the Last Supper, Jesus goes out to the garden. It's cool to know that that's where he liked to connect with God, right? So he goes out to the garden and he spends some time praying with God. And of course, we talked about on Easter that he prayed so intensely. He was sweating blood, and it was a powerful, powerful prayer. And we read, so he prays these 2 things, and he prays them 3 times, we read in the story, all right? And both are helpful. The first thing he prays is he knows crucifixion's coming, all the pain that comes with it. Praise God, please take this away. Isn't it good to know that Jesus prayed that? Because I don't know about you, but I've prayed that many times. God, take this away, especially recently, right? And maybe whatever pain you've gone through, you pray, God, take this away as soon as possible, ASAP as possible. Just kidding. And have you ever prayed that? Show of hands. Yeah, we all pray that. God, take this pain away that I'm going through or about to go through. And you know what's good, comforting to know? You're allowed to pray that. I'm allowed to ask God to do that because Jesus did. He even asked it 3 times. And I've had days where I'm asking God 100 times, just take this pain away, just make it stop. And so it's good to know that we can pray that. But most of us tend to stop there. We settle for kind of just like God getting rid of pain, just pain relief, pain kind of resolution, just take it away. Jesus' prayer didn't stop there. He went on to these powerful words. Maybe you've heard them before. He says, God, please take it away. Yet not my will, but your will be done. He ultimately prays this incredible prayer of faith, of trust, of submission. Not my will, God, but your will be done. You know, he's actually echoing the prayer that I mentioned earlier this week, the Our Father, the Lord's Prayer, where he teaches them to pray. And he says, one way you pray is, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So this takes your will be done to kind of the next level of intensity. He includes, not my will, but your will be done. Man, that's tough. That's tough to pray. Did you ever say as a teenager to your parents, you know, I really hope that you won't ground me, yet not as I want, but as you want. If you ground me, I trust that that's going to be what's best for me and my best interest. Yeah, no, I didn't really ever say that to my parents either. You know, in the book of Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah talks about that God's ways are way higher than my ways. His thoughts are way higher than my thoughts. I think Isaiah is saying that God's a whole lot smarter than me. I'm not offended by that, though. I can take it. He's just saying, listen, God always knows what's best for you, for the world. He's up to something, and his plans make way more sense than yours. He has a way bigger perspective than you, and that's so true. But this prayer proves, do I trust that? Do I trust it, right? Will I believe it? Have you ever heard this? Hey, be careful what you pray for, because you might just get what you're asking for. Yeah, that's the opposite of praying, God, your will be done, not mine. Because sometimes I could sit here and say, God, I just wish you would do what I want. But honestly, it's not going to work out best for me. Again, like kids and teenagers, so much of what they want at times isn't actually what's going to be the best for them. Many examples of this, I think about the apostles. Like, I mean, imagine having to watch your best friend get arrested and basically sentenced to death. I mean, I'd be praying pretty hard. God, don't let him die. Don't let Jesus die. Don't let Jesus die. God could have answered that. Jesus could have lived kind of a long life, never died on the cross, never opened up the door for salvation and a relationship for all humankind, for all time, past, present, and future. He could have just lived another 30 years and had a good life with them. Man, I'm glad God didn't answer that prayer for them. And I think at times in my own life, I prayed for things. So, man, God, looking back, I'm glad you didn't answer that. And that's why it's important when we pray, God, here's what I want, but what I really want is what you want, because you know better than me. You know, when I was praying for a job right after college, I really wanted one in my hometown. That's where my friends were, had this job. I knew I'd love it, prayed hard, didn't get it. I was praying, God, but ultimately, yeah, your will be done. And he had me take a job in some other city where I didn't know anybody. I was lonely. That's the job where I met my wife, where it set my life a whole different path of doing what I do now. All this stuff came out of God's will being done and not my will. Of course, as I talk about this idea of God's will being done, not ours, reminds me of a song. I've been talking about different rock songs all week. Now, I'm going to break a personal rule for me, just being real with you. I'm not a country music fan. My wife is, so she's kind of hurt by that. I try, but just not a fan. But I am going to give it credit and talk about a country song today. Carrie Underwood. I watched her back on American Idol. She was not who I wanted to win. She beat the rocker dude, Bo Bice, that I really hoped would win, but that's okay. Not my will be done. So Carrie won and went on to a way more successful career, incredible country artist. And of course, her song she's most known for is Jesus, Take the Wheel. And that song won her many Grammys, was a #1 song, of course, on the charts, and was named the #4 best country song of that whole decade. And if you don't know it, I ain't going to sing it for you. I don't sing country. If it was a rap song, I would do it. But you may know the chorus goes like this. Jesus, take the wheel, take it from my hands, because I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go. So give me one more chance. Save me from this road I'm on. Jesus, take the wheel. You know, that's the ultimate prayer of submission there. Jesus, take the wheel of my life. I actually think driving is a great metaphor for giving Jesus control of our life, because I'm teaching my 15-year-old boy how to drive right now. And let me tell you, it's scary to say, Levi, take the wheel. And I just have to sit powerless. I don't even get the extra brake and gas pedal on my side of the car like my driver's ed teacher got. So I'm just fully trusting my life in his hands every time we get in the car. You're doing good, Levi, don't worry. And but it's scary, right? And listen, it's way different to let someone take the wheel than just say, hey, I'll drive, you tell me where to go. Maybe you've done that. Some of you don't even like people telling you where to go. I'll do that, though. Tell my wife, hey, you can tell me where to go, but I'll drive. Some of us, you not only don't want people to tell you where to go, you don't even want people to touch the radio. Hey, nobody touches the music. Honestly, music is the one thing I don't let anybody touch in my car because I'm picky about it. But, for some of us, we're content to say, you know what, God, you can be my GPS. You tell me where to go, but, I'm still driving because I might change my mind. And I may know a better route to get there, God, than you do, so I'll still take the wheel. It's a whole different thing to pray you take the wheel. That's a deep level of trust with God. Reminds me of the bumper sticker. Maybe you've seen this one. It says, some people have one that says, God is my co-pilot. I've seen one that says, if God is your co-pilot, you better switch seats. Now that one I like. That's what we're talking about here. There's also a t-shirt goes like this, Theology 101. There is a God, says on the front, and on the back says, and you're not him. And that's that idea of remembering, hey, ultimately I'm not God, and God knows what's best for me. So I just want to encourage you and challenge you, will you pray that? Will you pray that? I've tried to pray that way now. I'm not saying I always get it right, but I pray like Jesus did, where I'll say, like, let's say right now in this quarantine time, saying, God, please take this away, end it as soon as possible. Get me out of this as soon as possible. And I'm going to keep asking him for that. But then I'll say, but you know what, God, ultimately, though, not my will, but your will be done. Are you ready to pray that? If you're not yet, listen, that's okay. But will you go on a journey toward praying that? Journey toward saying, God, ultimately, though, here's what I want, but ultimately I want what you want. I trust your will over mine. I dare you, encourage you to pray that this weekend, this month, all right? Hey, if you missed any of the prayer videos, go back and watch them this week. It's on our New Break Facebook channel or my page, and you can share them if they're helpful to people. But I pray with you, God, take this away from us as soon as you can, but not our will be done in this. Your will be done. Do some powerful, beautiful things in it, all right? Let's let him take the wheel.